who were present on yesterday at the plenary, the invitation extended to the service chiefs by the Senate. Now, in this situation, if the country is in this position where there is rising food insecurity and all, it is important to have the National Security Advisor, who, by the way, had said he had written to the Senate to say that he is having an interaction with the United Kingdom service chiefs and security agents as well, the United Kingdom, to ensure that there's some way the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and the United Kingdom is sustained in terms of security. But again, with the way that things are going, the cement protests in some parts of the country against food insecurity, we need to be more proactive. We need to wake up to responsibility. The president is back in the country. Great news, but it shouldn't just end there. It shouldn't just end at having a meeting of the emergency committee on food insecurity. Let's see that there's somewhat a relief and prices of things coming down. Femi Falana SAN had sued the federal government and the price control board particularly to say, look, you're not controlling prices. There's no price control. Anyone can choose the price that he wants to sell anything in the market, and that's contrary to the act establishing the price control board. If we cannot have you do your job, then what's the point actually having such a body, and even the laws that establish them? That's one side of the conversation this morning. Very interesting one we should be talking about, because I've heard people canvass for price control, say we shouldn't have a situation where anybody can import anything and sell at any price that they like, marking up even sometimes 200% of what it actually is. Now, Justice Ambrose Lewis Aluga was in his court yesterday, ordered government to fix the prices of milk, flour, sugar, salt, bicycles and their spare parts, matches, motorcycles and their spare parts, motor vehicles and their spare parts, as well as petroleum products, which includes diesel and premium motor spirits and kerosene. Now, how is this going to happen? How is this going to work? What's going to drive the prices down? Would federal government now begin to do subsidy? Now, don't forget that subsidy is not entirely a bad thing. Subsidy is one way that the federal government or the governments of nations have set to alleviate the sufferings of the people. Morocco, just about yesterday or 2 days ago, approved for subsidies of soft wheat. Now, what is this? This means that if there's a commodity that the country depends on, that the country needs, and people or citizens need to survive, and for things to be a lot more cheaper, the government finds a way to subsidize it if it's becoming difficult. So wheat has become difficult to find across the country, which is the reason why flour, for instance, is more expensive. Now, the problem that Nigeria has is that for things like flour, for instance, if we're unable to get wheat into the country at subsidized rates, at cheaper rates, Clement Zion Prince this morning narrated how a bag of flour had gone to about 100,000 or so, 40-something thousand, and sugar or something like that, or milk, bag of milk or so, had gone to 137,000 naira. These are all essentials for the production of bread. Bread is an essential commodity. Nations across the world make sure that stuff like bread is available. I remember some time ago, I think it was 2004, 2005, when the price of bread increased by just a tiny fraction. And countries like South Africa, in South Africa, and there was a protest. You know, we need to find ways to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians, reduce the prices of things. If Justice Ambrose has found it necessary to order the federal government to, reduce the prices of commodities in the market, with food inflation at over 33% currently, then we do know that there is a problem that needs solving. And right now, the federal government needs to do whatever, including maybe bringing in subsidy for some of these food items. Okay? If Morocco could subsidize the prices of wheat importation, subsidize wheat importation, just so that stuff like bread and other pastries can be available in the country and sold at cheaper rates, then maybe we need to do that. Maybe subsidize rice importation, subsidize wheat importation for bread manufacturers, because it's terrible how much you would have to spend to, which is okay. So it's terrible how much you have to spend just to produce bread. Clement Zion Prince, who has a bakery himself, just told us about this morning that one bag of flour can produce about 90 loaves or 100 loaves at best. Now, if that's the situation, it means that for bakeries and those who produce bread to maybe maximize profit on every bag of flour, they would have to contaminate the bread that we eat with some of these chemicals and some of these stuff that has been said to be not good for our health. All right, now imagine that bread manufacturers or bread producers have to add bromate, have to add saccharin or whatever it is in place of sugar, and just to make sure that the bread, we're just going to keep killing ourselves. Take ingesting poison, something that's bad for our health, just so that we can get by, so that the businesses can get by. That's what they do. So they begin to cut corners, find ways to maximize profit. They end up feeding you poison because they want to maximize profit. Who is to say that majority of the bread that we consume in this country are not poisonous because they want to be able to maximize profit? Because sometimes when they increase prices of these bread or these commodities, Nigerians don't buy. So how do they stay in business? They find ways to contaminate or just adulterate whatever it is that they're selling to us, just so that they can maximize profit. This is what we're doing to ourselves. I've also heard people say, look, to ease all of this problem, the federal government should reinstate. Is that the way to go? What are your thoughts? Today is Have Your Say Thursday, and I get your thoughts in a bit. The numbers to call remain the same if you have them. That's good. 8888. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 09097054450. Keep it here. The conversation continues. All right, apologies there. The conversation continues. This is your radio experience you can count on, and it's Eagles Outlook. This morning, we're talking about the situation in the country, with the service chiefs being invited and the meeting postponed. You had the Senate president there saying that they want to interact and interface with them just so that they can find common grounds to see that the Nigerian state is better for it and more secure, especially the FCT, which they say is somewhat under siege and it's unsafe. Now, we're also talking about the order by Justice Ambrose, who says, or rather Justice Alogwa, who says that the federal government and the and flour with sugar, salt and the likes, these are essential commodities. And he also goes on to say they should reduce the prices of motorcycles and all. But the question would be, how are they going to do this? Because if I'm an importer, for instance, and I get dollars at a very high rate, and then I buy the products, bring them into the country, and I have to make profit, right? It just doesn't make sense. How are they going to do this unless the federal government, we've seen that the federal government has, tried to remove the taxes on some of these some items, but I don't think that that's enough. Maybe we need to find ways to see that the federal government supports the importation of these things if they must be imported, or better yet, support local manufacturers, subsidize their raw materials and imports, remove the duties on some of those products. We saw that earlier this year. So the federal government making moves to remove duties or reduce the duties on some of these other, important products. Going in the coming days, we hope to see the prices of items reduce, just so that these protests across the country can just go away, and Nigerians can just enjoy themselves and live better lives. Join the conversation. I'll bring in our first caller. Hello, good morning.
Morning, very much.
Good morning, Moses. You're welcome.
Yeah, I think there are very issues that have been discussed on this platform. Many advice, ideas being given to the government. Solutions were being given through human ideas. I believe that the government should attend to the voice and think to put those ideas to work. I want to thank God for your life. I want to thank God for using your platform as a forum to chip in one or two solutions to the entire government. Yes, the insecurity. The insecurity has caused a lot of challenge in this country that government should not take it lightly. It has been a national threat. Anything that has been a threat to the national security is not something that is overlooked. I think why they want to take reaction is that the thing has come to the people. Why these things, we are hearing them in other places, it's just like a narrative, not reality. But when the reality now begins to be seen in Abuja, they now begin to call meetings upon meetings. But the issue is, it should be on meeting, actions will follow. I think I hear Wike when he went to Kwali for commissioning some of the roads over there from the project to start. He made mention that people should go to sleep, that the security will be reactive to go in action. I believe it to be true. Then another thing again is that it's a holistic work and joint effort. We shouldn't look onto the government alone. We also should arise to make sure that we support the government by giving information. Sometimes this information are given, despite information has been given, sometimes there is no any reaction that takes place. But the Nigerians should not relent and relax. Then the issue of food security. Yeah, how can we get this price down? Taking the government to court is not the issue. Government should subsidize. There are things that government needs to do subsidy. If you remove all your subsidy, there are some areas you need to, especially there should be something like food subsidy. Government should pay in advance to make sure that food is available for Nigerians. If it takes to open the border and cut down the import duty, you do it, especially rice. I remember in the past government, like Jonathan, there was a flow of rice from outside. So you allow those things to come in. Let it be a competitive market. Our own local rice here, we can buy it. And there is the tendency that the money, the rate that this strike is going is so alarming. Okay, look at the protest that showcased in Niger here. You know that the woman that subheaded that protest was arrested. You see, so what are we saying? I'm pleading that these people are coming out to protest for the anger of hunger they are going through. This is an evidence because they say a hungry man is an angry man. So I am believing that the government should look into oil food subsidy by to allow those food to come, and also to provide. I don't know whether we have our reserve food in silos. Like somebody that said yesterday that those food are no more. The rat has already eaten this. So I don't know which of the rat. Is it human rat or normal rat? But if there are all these food in silos, bring them out and let it be to the Nigerians.
All right, Moses. Thank you very, very, very much. Appreciate you calling in. In a capitalist environment, what are we doing with a price control board, by the way? That's a question on my mind. Hello, good morning.
Hi, Prince, good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Paul, where have you been?
My Prince, I've been with you. I've called sometimes, I will not be lost.
It's all right. Good to have you.
Sometimes if your finger doesn't touch us, that side, you can't get.
My brother, what can we do?
When all these our issues were at the heat, at the front burner, I called trying to clarify some things, but I didn't succeed. So
you probably could have just sent me a message or something. That's an alternative channel.
I want to do that, but I didn't really have the time.
That's okay.
A lot of things are happening in this country, honestly. I was in Katsina. I drove all the way to Katsina. My friend, on Saturday, I thought it was a joke. When I asked of the price of cement, a bag of cement, they told me it was 8,000. I thought it was a joke.
8,000 naira.
8,000 naira for a bag of cement. Because they say it wasn't available. I'm going to Abuja here. This morning I'm hearing 8,000 for a bag of cement. And we are gradually getting to 700 per liter.
If we're not there already.
My friends, we are heading towards a very bad situation. And this one that they keep on, that's why I expected a very intense discussion when the CBN governor, the economic team of this country, I expected a very intense question from the National Assembly when they appeared at that National Assembly. There was no discussion of hope to Nigerians. There was no anything that would raise our hope at all. Saying all sorts of things that because Nigerians go outside to study, that's why the dollar is being put under pressure. Meanwhile, they go for their treatment abroad. They do other things. They didn't talk about that one. They didn't fix the education. They didn't do anything. Look at what is happening. The food, my friend. I said, I stopped, and I looked at the fresh carrots on that route. And that was just a little farm. Because of this insecurity, I asked them, they said they are not allowed to farm again. That is just a little they are able to do. And even in our ways, they have to pay tax. The government needs to do a lot. This subsidy, this first subsidy, they are saying that we should start reaping the benefits. How long? When did they remove it? How much have they gathered? Talking of different things. Hey, today they say we should speak our mind, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then another thing I want to touch is the location about. Is it relocation or transfer? Because the location comes with a very huge cost. What happened to us in France? I don't want to say anything about that one. Maybe we'll talk about that one, my friend.
Let's talk about it because I need to answer a few questions. We're going to talk about it off air, please. I understand. I'll probably give you a call later so we can discuss that a little, so I can ask a few questions, because we hear that it's going to save fan 500 million naira from flight tickets and all of that stuff, going back and forth Abuja and Lagos, just to have maybe some files or some documents signed and all of that. I'm going to talk that with you later. Stay with us. The conversation continues here. 09073530044 and 09087668888. Now, as much as it seems like those in authority and those in government may not really know what the average Nigerian faces, I don't think there's anyone who would be happy to see his countrymen go hungry, which is why I'm worried that things are looking the way that they're looking, right? So what if the efforts, we see that the efforts being made to reduce the cost of living in the country at the moment. Someone needs to really conduct a proper investigation, proper research. Now, I'm not talking, because when we say investigation, we're talking about our minds go to crime and all of that. Properly research the reasons why these things are happening. Okay, so for instance, the price control board, as we have it, I mean, that board has been there, the act establishing the board since 1977. Maybe there's new learnings need to come into place. Let's find out what it is that's causing this cost of living going up, properly research it and find solutions to it, get recommendations, not just relying on, the World Bank said, the World Health Organization said, the UNICEF said, and World Food Program, Food and Agriculture Organization. This is what. Let's look inwards and find out the real problems, our problems, right? Problems that are peculiar to us. What is the reason why all of this is persisting? And then tackle them. Because if we cannot farm, okay, then maybe we can import. And talking about importation, maybe we can import from other African countries, other West African nations, neighboring countries, and open up bilateral trade between us and these countries. The free trade zone arrangement, the AFCFTA, the African Free Trade Zone, and all of that. Maybe we need to look at that and see that if we cannot farm, then our brothers in Ghana who are doing well with maybe their agriculture, our brothers in Senegal, if they have good farm produce, we can exchange something. Okay, we can find ways to trade within ourselves. So instead of going to buy rice from Thailand and enriching those far nations that would not really benefit us per se, or any other place, why don't we buy the rice from these other countries? If they produce wheat, let's trade. We know that most of the wheat comes from the likes of Ukraine and Russia and the likes. But we can also find, I'm just saying, if for instance we're buying rice from any of these countries, maybe Cameroon and the likes, and then selling something else to them. I know that we've been selling electricity to some countries. Maybe we can trade that instead of some of them are owing us billions in dollars. Let's say, take off so and so amounts for your debt and give us rice in place. Okay, so instead of paying us maybe $5 billion, give us rice worth $1 billion or something, or give us whatever it is that they produce there that they have in quantum, and then we trade that as well. I mean, that's how That's a way to solve some of these problems. That could be a way. Join in, share your suggestions with government, because it seems like sometimes we're just bereft of ideas. I'm just saying. From the yes, be good morning.
How you doing today?
I'm okay. Good to have you.
Good morning. I know you are very, very okay. God will make you protect you anywhere you go. I greet our blessing. Even I say we don't know our left, we don't know our right. Government know the issue now. Issue of price high for market. Now we are already the maker. Now make person listen for us. May any person at all wey dey for that position listen for us. To bring price of tea come down, no be the solution now. You know, say anything that goes up in Nigeria, it can never come down. If you like, you bet me. I bet you something that can make the price of tea come down now. May we tackle issue of security first. Let farmers go back to their farm and let our president carry the fuel price come down. You go see say everything you go come down. Now someone go call say no be everywhere Boko Haram dey attack. So farmers still dey go farm. The farm wey Nigeria dey farm now for our Nigeria, e dey feed us, e dey carry us go anywhere. We still dey port rice for outside country. The outside country rice wey we dey port come for our Nigeria now, wey we dey use dollar dey buy. How much be mudu now? Mudu is 2,800. Now what of our farmer? We get bush wey be say youth want to farm. Now this Boko Haram they know they allow them to farm. If our president can bring the price of fuel come down, my brother, price of tea go drop. No need to announce it. They know our problem. They want me we continue to beg them before we eat it. Now you go protest, they go arrest you. Now what is the Nigerian boys? What is our boys? We go talk for radio. Nobody go listen for us. They say we are wasting our time. We are burning our credit. What our president supposed to do for us? May he bring the price of fuel up to 200 or 50. You go see whether person when they sell milk now milk of 30 naira before now milk not become 170. What are you saying? Milo when be say now 50 naira before Milo go become 100 naira. How the price of tea go take go down when woman go market? Motor won't carry your goods. They go tell you say you go pay 20,000. How you know how you go sell that tea 30 naira? When we talk now, even though they say make price of tea come down, make the big price of fuel come down. Okay, talking about issue of that okay now. If you refine how they go work, we go enjoy. We no go enjoy. When that go take the final they begin the work, 1 liter go be 1.5 because he borrow money to do the final. He must spend 8,000 7.5. Now they say you go put my say if they just go take the final is working, you go forget is that it's 800, 900. They hear me well. Sort of that go take they don't become 300. Mudu of sugar it don't become 2,800 for market. A crate of egg it don't become 3,300. What are you telling me? I go take order where our president no carry for a order. They are just deceiving us say they want to regulate, they want to build price of the tea order. You remember during the time when they say just go say express you will be 3,000 with the happy they say draft you will be 2,005. For now wetin they do not be to increase that we will begin to put my say they go build price of tea order for matter they take at the high nothing we can do. Let them bring our food come for number where we go happy. God bless you. God bless
Thank you
Nigeria.
very
Bye
much.
bye.
Thank you so much. Again, like I said earlier, subsidy is not entirely a bad thing, but somehow it was sold to us. It was sold to Nigerians. I don't know who made us believe that subsidizing the price of things, subsidizing a particular commodity was a terrible thing, and we bought it hook, line, and sinker. And somewhat, we're saying that it's not. Look, there's no nation that doesn't have subsidy. Currently, we have subsidy on electricity, don't we? If we don't have subsidy on electricity, maybe some of the businesses that that have their lights on today would have been out of business completely. So, government looks at things that the country needs that are very essential to the survival of its citizens, and somewhat subsidizes them if they are out of reach of pocket expenses from the citizens. One of the reasons we're dealing with this, like I've said this a couple of times over, if we do not have refineries working as soon as possible that could probably reduce the cost of PMS, we're going to have more problems in our hands. Because before subsidy was removed, we should have had refineries functional. We should have had maybe alternatives to PMS and those other things. so that Nigerians will not have to pay so much. The reason things are becoming worse by the day is because, like yesterday evening, for instance, I was coming back from from town, and I wanted to buy fuel, and almost all the filling stations I passed through were shut. This was about 6:30 or thereabout, around just say 7 p.m. All right, these are filling stations that I've driven into by 10 p.m. to buy fuel, and they were all short. Now, if there is scarcity, on top of the fact that people are buying fuel for 670, 680 naira, or 660 in some places, what's going to happen if there's a scarcity? It automatically means that the prices are going to go up again. Now, if the